Peace, family. Hello, hello. Peace. Welcome to Q&A with the Loctician tonight. I am excited to talk to you today, or share some tips rather, about why your roots are not locking. And I had a few locticians on Instagram and say that locks take time. Let the roots catch up. Be patient and don't plan your roots in between regular wash and retwist sessions. Hand and hair syndrome. Who here has hand and hair syndrome? I'm gonna get the lipstick off my teeth. Press a 1 if you have hand and hair syndrome. That means you're constantly like touching your hair all up and through there all the time. Press a 1 if you have it. Press a 2 if you rarely touched your hair. You can, go days without putting your hands in your hair. Michelle, hopefully I pronounced that right, says your hair is not going to grow out of your head already locked. Truly. That statement is like, that's the blanket statement, right? Because it's not just that blanket, the hair at your roots is never going to lock. We know that. We get that. But there's a range, I would say, from your scalp to about 2 inches. That is like the new growth space. And really maybe 1.5, because our hair, pop quiz. Y'all know I love my quizzes, right? Pop quiz. And no Googling, okay? This has to be off top, okay? Off top. Just take your best guess. Don't Google. Don't ask Alexa, okay? How fast, or like what's the average rate of growth for our hair? What's the average rate of growth for our hair within a month? On average, again, this is by cosmetology standards, textbook standards, the hair grows 1/2 inch per month. So in 2 months, 8 weeks, you can expect to see about 1 inch of hair, new growth hair at your roots. For some people, it's faster, and we, like Teresa, got 2 inches in a month, or 2 inches in 2 months. And for some of us, our hair grows slower. It can be about 1/4 of an inch in a month. And so in 2 months, you would have 1/2 inch. But keep that in mind. And so if your hair is locking, or your hair is already locked, now, Frida, you're asking the right questions. With that being said, let's just take this average rate, 1/2 inch per month, right? So in 2 months, we have 1 inch of new growth at our roots. If we are consistently grooming our hair, we still may see loose hair, like that frizz, that like afro that's at the base of your hair. We may see that happening for a few months. And so that's why I say there's like a range of like 2 inches, 1.5 inches of hair that will be unlocked at the root. Because what I want you to always go back to with your lock journey is your beginning stages. In the beginning, how long did it take for your hair to start locking and budding? If it happened really quickly, okay, you probably will have a shorter amount of new growth at your roots because your hair is naturally tangling. But if it happens slower, like you were closer to like 9 months, 8 months, 12 months before your hair really started to tangle and bud, that's going to mean the hair that is at your roots, the new growth is coming in, it's going to take longer for that to lock, because the root of your hair is in the baby stage. It's starting all over. Those locking processes that you had to grow through. So remember, you have the baby stage, the starter stage, the baby stage, teenage and adult phases. You have all those stages of your locks. Every time you have new hair at your root that's coming out, it has to grow through all of those stages. That's why you can have the ends of your locks be really condensed, have no frizz, be really compact in the mid shaft or the middle of your lock. Right up in here, it's like really, really frizzy. It may be loose because this end is an adult. That's you done got to the stage. You've leveled up all the way. this middle shaft, middle part, they're still teenagers. They're still trying to figure things out. So it's still really frizzy. And then up here at the roots, they're babies. They're starting the whole process all over again. So always keep that in mind as you're growing through your journey, okay? So that is like best case scenario, right? With the loose hair at our roots. Now, what I want to talk about and what I wanted to get into and why I said this may give you a different perspective to why your roots are not locking. We know already that we're going to have 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of loose hair at the root. But when it gets past that, when it gets past 2 inches and you have a whole lot of loose hair at your root and it doesn't seem like it's locking no matter what is happening, maybe you're using tight hold products, maybe you're retwisting regularly, maybe you are trying to wash your hair less frequently so that your hair can lock. If you're in that space, a few things that I want to offer to you about why the hair is no longer locking, and you may have some issues going forward. Oh, newbie643, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you. Okay, these super stickers on YouTube really mean a lot to me, and I truly, truly appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you so much. One of the things that may be causing some issues is how you're wearing your bonnet. I posted on my Instagram feed, I shared on there a tip for how you're supposed to wear your bonnet. So a lot of times we put on our bonnet and we put it right here, right on the hairline. So our bonnet's on, looking cute. It's right here on our edges. But you keep wearing that bonnet right here on your edges, and it's causing friction right here. That friction disrupting our locking process. So when you're wearing your bonnet, it should be on your forehead. Okay? So that'll help with getting that hair to lock. That is along your edges if that is the issue, the area that you're having an issue with. Also consider how often you're putting your hair in ponytails. You know how we first started the broadcast and I had my hair up in that ponytail? Because y'all know I'm allergic to lint, right? So me and lint, I get sick if my hair comes in contact with lint. So a lot of times I tend to keep my hair up, but you have to get creative with how you pull your hair back or how you put your hair up, or how you're styling your hair, especially if you're doing it really often, because that tension, even though you're just like, oh, it's just in a ponytail, or oh, I just pulled it back, or oh, I used the loosest hair tie ever, it's still a form of tension that is constantly at your roots. And so if you're always pulling your hair back, or that like that second or third week when your retwist is kind of like, maybe could get it done, maybe I want to slick it back because my job doesn't like my hair to be all everywhere, and you're pulling it back every day, you're wetting it so your edges are sleek, you're wetting it, tying it down, putting the headband on it to make it like that faux, like, oh, no one's gonna know, they're gonna know, no one's gonna know. You're doing that often and repeatedly. That could be another reason why you have more than that range of new growth at your roots. Okay, because you're not allowing the hair to tangle, you're constantly stretching it. Okay, so be very mindful about how you do that. Thank you, Teresa. Oh my gosh, that's like a huge donation. I appreciate you so much. And I'm happy to share the knowledge that I have, because again, I remember starting my lock journey, wanting to know certain things or wanting to figure out how to do things or why this was happening. I'm very much like, I need to know why. I don't care if you tell me this is what it's supposed to be. I want to know why it's supposed to be like that, so I can use my brain. And so if I can share or help you along your journey, help to answer those like why questions, I'm grateful to do so. And I truly appreciate your presence and your opportunity to educate. So, I'm doing what I feel that I'm called to do. Okay? Be careful with the ponytails. It's the tension, okay? Because the hair has to tangle, it has to mesh. If you're stretching it, it's not tangling, okay? So be really careful. And that's again why I say people that have mature locks fall into this trap often, because your hair has already locked on the ends. And so you think, okay, I can just do all the styles. I can just pull it off my face. But remember, the hair is still locking. You still are cultivating it. It's still a process, okay? The other reasons why the hair may not be locking at the root is because you're not grooming it regularly. And so I have this issue shows up a lot for people whose hair grows away from their locks. Like naturally, you will always see my hair. If you're watching me on live, you see how I have like this halo, or I have like a lot of loose, it looks like my hair is very frizzy at the root, because my hair grows away from my locks. So my hair does not just grow and like come into like locking, it's like around it. So it creates like a bush. If you are not regularly grooming your hair, that means reincorporating those loose hairs back into the shaft of the lock. You'll notice that even when you do go to retwist it, it may take a lot longer, if ever, for it to stay in place or stay with the lock, because it's been so long. So if you are someone whose hair grows away from your lock, make it a point to regularly groom. So these are some things I just want you to keep in mind about why the hair may not be locking at the root. And by locking at the root, I mean it's not locking beyond that like 1.5 to 2 inch area. So you have like 3-4 inches of loose hair at your root. For some people, this is okay, meaning your hair grows with your lock and you just have, fluffy afro roots, and it's beautiful. Myself, people that maybe like me, hair growing away from your locks, finer textures of hair, it's not okay. It's not okay. So these are some things to keep in mind about why that may be happening. And I hope that is helpful for you. So thank you. I'll talk to you soon. As always, I'm wishing you peace, love, and good vibes.